Adulting is, if not hard, then complicated for sure. Sometimes you are just getting distant from people and even losing some friends of yours, and other times you are making such great connections with people. But you only realize that even when you are making great connections and there are great additions in your life, no one really gets replaced. A friend that you may have lost or you are getting distant from, that void doesn't really get filled by having another person in your life, another friend who is maybe the kind that you gel really well with. So, in this video, I'll be talking about 5 major techniques that can help you make up with the friends that you are getting distant from. But before I talk about that, I'd really like to know what kind of a person you are. Are you the one who ignores the situation, avoids it, and doesn't really think about it when in an uncomfortable situation with a friend, and maybe realize years later what it is that you lost and even feel regret about that? That this wasn't the person you may have wanted to lose. This could have been the person you would have wanted to make really more efforts for. Or you are the person who, even when they feel uncomfortable, they put in all their effort into addressing the situation, however you may do that. I'd really like to know in the comments below what you feel your strength is when it comes to maintaining relationships. Are you a patient listener? Are you someone who sees situations objectively? Are you someone who is able to keep their calm even in challenging situations? I'd like if you comment with that so that I know you better too. So, in my own situation, like even as a psychologist, knowing so many things, I have made a lot of assumptions in my friendships. I'm the kind of person who likes to keep in touch. But then, you know how there are so many friends who would probably talk to you every once in a while and they'd only feel as close to you. I'd honestly get hurt by that. And I have actually lost a lot of connections because of that. It was only after a friend of mine told me that, Kashika, you cannot really assume that, I know that you like to keep more in touch, that you feel unloved when I do not do that. That's when I got to know that this is one of my expectations or my need, that I cannot really expect the other person to just know that, if they know me, they just know that these are the kind of things I like. Those are the things that I might have to communicate to them. Those are the kind of things that they can't really just read my mind. There are some things that need to be communicated, and losing someone over such things, I felt later wasn't worth it. So if you have experienced any such situations with any of your close friends or any of your friends for that matter, I'm sure this video is for you. But before I go on talking about the 5 powerful techniques, I'd really like you to join my Telegram channel, the link of which is right there in the description. So let's now dive deep into this topic. The first way of making up with your friend that you might be getting distant from is keeping the lines of communication open and expressing how you feel. I meet so many such clients and even my friends who aren't comfortable expressing when it comes to friendships. They may do that with other people, but with friends, it might be hard to be vulnerable for some people. And I completely understand that. But you know how strength lies in being vulnerable, giving someone else the power that you be really, really genuine with them. So, expressing to your friend not just the things that you do not like, but also the things that you like about them, also the things that you appreciate, also the things that you do not appreciate. So, when you keep the lines of communication open, genuine, and trusting, it only strengthens the bond. So, whenever you are in a situation that, say, upsets you or makes you angry, and there's something about your friend, about what they did, it's always a great option to express that rather than waiting for them to just understand it, rather than waiting for them to read your mind. Because a lot of times, what happens is that we do not say something in the expectation that this is like the littlest of thing. If they do not understand this, they do not understand me. But no, that's not how it really works. When you want to put in efforts for someone, you really do that. So while expressing, you tell them how you feel about the situation, why, if there was any betrayal of trust, why it hurt you. It will actually also help you understand what your triggers may be. It will help you be more aware of yourself. If something irks you about the other person, that gives you a chance to reflect about yourself too. Is there something that is your trigger as well? And what you need from them to start rebuilding that trust. It's very, very important. Just stating the problem may not do the whole work. Also letting them know that I felt so and so about this thing, and I'd really like if we can do this about the situation, so that this kind of conflict doesn't arise anymore. That will give this situation quite a good closure as well. The second way is make time for this resolving this thing. A lot of times I hear people saying that they do not have the time because so much work is going on, or that it would be better if they meet after a month or two, or something on those lines, or that they do not have the time. So what I feel is that's always an excuse. Whenever you want to make efforts for someone, you do. And if you are dodging the situation, procrastinating it because it seems overwhelming, then it's always a good idea to not do that, because the more time you take in meeting the other person and resolving stuff, the more chance both of you get to assume more things and feel more bitter within. With more time, that tends to happen. If you are taking time to just understand your feelings and to articulate in a manner that seems healthy, where you are not in the heat of the moment, then that's completely fine. But if you are waiting for months for that to happen, then that may not be a good idea. That may actually be a hindrance in the process of making up with your friend. The third way is that you really go with an intention of forgiving and moving past it. If you are going only to complain about it or to blame the other person about whatever happened, then there are chances that it might end up into an argument or a fight. It's always a healthy option when you express what you feel, and at the same time also go with the intention that you want to let it go and start anew. I'm not saying that it will always lead in making up. You might decide that you don't want to be friends anymore, or any other option. But when you go with this intention that you want to let it go and start anew in whatever that direction that may be, it would be great for you, because you at least won't be carrying the baggage of it. Your energy at least won't be going into managing those emotions than doing other things. So it's always a good idea to forgive the other person, to at least have that intention and trust yourself in going with the process. The next way is that whenever having a conversation, listen to them and do not personalize something. When they tell you that there is something about the situation they did not like, something about the way you treated them or reacted to a particular situation you did not like, that is the chance for you to really reflect on it and validate their feelings too. Even if you intended something different and they perceived it differently and they felt hurt about that, it's not like you keep justifying what you did. You sincerely apologize to them for having hurt them, or for anything that they may have felt. Because when you give importance to your feelings, you give importance to the other person's feelings as well, so that they feel cared for, so that they feel that you are really here to make things up and not to just turn this into another fight. And whenever you apologize, be it about anything, not if you feel that the whole situation there were some parts that you want to apologize for, and there are some parts that you would want the other person to also reflect upon and maybe apologize for, then it's always a good idea to be specific. So usually when we apologize, we say that I'm sorry I hurt you. A better idea is that you just elaborate on that. I'm sorry that when I did this, it contributed to you feeling so and so, and I'll definitely ensure that I do things the way it works for the both of us. That gives the other person more assurance that you really understood them, that you really are considerate towards their feelings, and the apology also seems very, very genuine. And the last thing is that you realize that it takes efforts from both the sides to make things up. You going with the intention that you want to make things up, but the other person is not on the same lines as you, may not do the work. So having that realistic expectation that it always takes both the people for things to turn up well, and then also giving it time, that if you've had this conversation and you are trying to make things up, then your expectation also needs to be very realistic, that it may take some time to still build trust and do certain things, so that you can go back. If you want to go back to the same equation, then you give it time. Or if you grow with this situation, then you also accept that. So not expecting that you'll just go back to being the former friends is a good thing, because you need to be very realistic about it. So, considering all of this, going with a very genuine intention and with the intention of letting go, can make can be really wonderful when you want to make up with your friends. So, do let me know how this works for you in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.